Sonora City Council meeting at 4:04 p.m. Okay, we're going to go into closed session here in a minute. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hawkins?
Here.
With Mayor Pro Tem Mark Plummer absent. Councilmember Garaventa?
Here.
Councilmember Segerstrom? Here. And Councilmember Such?
Here. Okay, so there are 4 of us. Is there any public comment for the closed session items? Okay, I don't see anybody wanting to come up here. So we're going to adjourn into closed session at 4:05. And then do we need to close?
Yay.
Which one, Chris?
I'll wait.
Great.
Where's the bottom?
Oh, show more.
Cool.
We get back to Zoom.
Cool. Okay, I would like to call the Monday, November 1st, 2021 Sonora City Council meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. Pledge allegiance. Jim, would you lead the pledge, please?
Sure. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was kind of fun.
I'll start and enjoy that. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hawkins?
Here.
Councilmember Garaventa?
Here.
Councilmember Segerstrom? Here. Councilmember Such? Here. With Mayor Pro Tem Plummer absent.
And just for note, for anybody reporting out like the papers or the news, that the Mayor Pro Tem is off fighting fires again with his chainsaw. Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I want to make sure we stay in accordance with what the closed session. We didn't report out of closed session.
I thank you very much. I'm running ahead and then behind. So on closed session, item number 1 was we denied the claim of Dowd's. And then item 2, we gave direction.
And that was by a unanimous vote.
What's that, Doug?
He says by unanimous vote.
Yes.
I turned down some of the speakers, so the dais speakers may be low. And I think he's part of that, so.
Hey, Doug, say something, please. Whoa.
This is a test. Does it work?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna hold that out there now. Wow. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Okay, city clerk's report on agenda posting.
Your agenda was posted on Friday, October 29th at 1 p.m.
Excellent, thank you. And then approval of the agenda. Is there everything look good? No additions, subtractions? Okay, on to presentations. Receive a Tuolumne County update from District 1 Supervisor Dave Goldenberg. Supervisor Goldenberg.
It should be on, right? Is it speaker? Chris, how do we make sure this is on? lectern. There we go.
I think we're there now.
Whoa.
Yes, we are. Is there a way to tone that down a tiny bit? Or? Okay, very good. Uh, first of all, I want to apologize for missing the last meeting. Had a little miscommunications on the schedules there, so I'm late on that one, but here now. So, so what's going on with the county? Just in general terms, just a brief COVID update. We just got a report in, today as well. Since last Friday. And so there was another 70-something cases and 3 more fatalities. There's been a lot of concern and discussions, over COVID, but, just to bring things into perspective, during the month of October, we had over 700 additional cases, and that's in a 1-month period of time, and we had 19 deaths. Now, some of the deaths are a little bit late on the reporting, but it just shows that the seriousness of COVID is still here. And so just wanted to emphasize that from the county perspective. We're looking at doing everything we can. We'll have a report tomorrow at our board meeting, Dr. Serjenko, and we'll get updated information then. So I'd encourage anybody, to tune in tomorrow to the board meeting. Just general information, the county budget, we were pleasantly surprised, in that the sales tax numbers were up. So we had our adopted budget in September, and TOT was up as well, so that was good. We're still working on the American Recovery Plan funds. We held back some of those funds because we're in the middle of negotiations with our bargaining units. And we wanted to ensure that we had enough money to take care of our employees, as well as look at, where we were going to go with the county as a whole. Just want to emphasize that I want to, whenever possible, partner with the city, in anything that we can do. Some recent discussions, that, have been going on and back and forth is homeless, right? This is nothing new. I applaud the city, for what you've done with Stewart House and partnering with ATCA. I would look to see that we could perhaps have something that we could work with directly with the county and the city, including, let's take a fresh look at the funding sources that come down to the county that I understand don't always flow back all the way down to the city. So, my commitment is, let's take a look at that and let's see where we can partner together and do something to, combat this problem, because it is a super serious problem. I did spend some time up at Resiliency Village recently. They've got a really nice program going. I was very impressed in what they're doing. I met with Mark Dyken, Brenda Chapman, Shelly Muniz. They just have wonderful things going on, and I think that can actually become a model, for other areas. And they're working, with our county departments, behavioral health, on mental health issues, and so we should be looking at all those types of things to see what we can do. Other than that, there's some other things, pending that, could be coming up that we should be discussing. One of them would be the bypass. I know as a city that, you took a vote and you supported going with the bypass. I'm personally in support of that as well. And we need to sort out how we're going to get there, right? And there's some jurisdictional issues, we have discussions that could be about, looking at, exchanging, of properties. It's easier said than done, right? If you have a potential highway that could be going right through the middle of properties, it doesn't make it, a simple matter to look at. So other than that, I note on your agenda, Vision Sonora. There's some things coming up there on your item 6. Looking forward to working, with that group and, resurrecting that and getting it going.
Do note, item 8 talks about your emergency services director. We're kind of considering a similar path at the county level, perhaps taking it out of the political side, from the board chair and putting it with admin, with our CAO. Remote teleconferencing, where the county was really behind on being able to interact with the public in the way that, I feel we should have. And so we're, as of our November 9th meeting, we're going to be having a more robust opportunities for the public to be involved. Other than that, the Sonora Energy Action Committee, I'm a part of that group, and I see that's on the agenda as well. And looking forward to continued involvement there and see what we can do between the city and the county partnering up there. So I don't have anything further, but welcome to take questions if anybody has any.
Do the three of you have any questions? So I'll just make a couple comments. Supervisor Goldenberg, again, I every time you come up here, I say it, but thank you for keeping your word and, keeping us apprised of everything going on with the city. Thank you for being I don't know, a great partner. It's nice to have a District 1 supervisor that is, I know that you occasionally, you communicate with all of us up here, and it really means an awful lot. So I really want to thank you for that. Thank you for talking about COVID. I think I've lost three friends now, two that I knew really well, one in Virginia that passed away from it. And there's a lot of opinions out there, but it's interesting. Even with the opinions, no, I'm not going to make a fart joke again. But it's funny, even with the opinions that go one way or another, everyone I've talked to states the same thing, which is this is absolutely something that can be deadly, that has been deadly, and it's scary for a lot of people. There's all kinds of debates going on, but I think we need to keep in mind that it's not something you just you play around with. So I thank you for keeping us apprised of that also.
Yeah, well, you're quite welcome. It is, the consequences, we're seeing the results, and it is, it's really bad, so whatever we can do, to try and yes, there's a lot of differences of opinion, out there, and, but we should do whatever we can to protect people.
Oh yeah, so, especially now, like the elderly and that sort of thing. I know a lot of my elderly friends, we're keeping distance and that kind of thing. And just reminding people, I know I've been reminding a lot of people, not just at work, but even in the past, what I would do, hey, with hand washing, hey, good sanitation, those kind of things, because they are still so important. We live in a wonderfully clean country and a great place, but sanitation's a big deal. So.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, on to item public comment on non-agenda items. The public may address the council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to a 3-minute presentation. Looking for the public for any comment. Yes.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the City Council for putting a red curb next to the new bank, because I turn up that street constantly and we always block a lot of traffic because of the parking there right on that curb. The second thing is I'd like to thank you for getting the road repaired on Hospital Road next to the old hospital. And the third thing, I would like you to consider repairing West Sunset Street. That road is deteriorating rapidly day by day, and that's where my neighbors and I live. Fortunately, we have very polite neighbors who will pull over the side and let us get through, but it's really a disaster. So if you would put that somewhere in your mind, I would appreciate it.
Just for the public's, and you don't have to be up here, Ann, but I was going to say, I get this question about the sunset. There's an upper sunset, a lower sunset, and a west sunset in Sonora, and they're all within 3/4 of a mile of one another. So okay, so it is west sunset. Okay,
It's up off
behind
of
the old
Lytton.
pawn shop.
It's up off, you go up
Yeah.
Lytton and way back in.
Yeah.
High Street.
Okay, any other public comment?
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Katie Dunn, President of the Sonora Chamber of Commerce. I'm here to talk to you this evening about Christmastown, Sonora. But before I do, I wanted to let you know that we presented our big idea to the Sonora Area Foundation for the Innovation Challenge, and the Sonora Chamber was awarded $10,000 to go towards Christmastown, Sonora. And so this is great seed money for us. So we are in the throes of our fundraising, but this was a really great start for us. So I wanted to share that with you. We will be having our window display contest judged by Mayor Hawkins and the Sonora High School leadership class, along with the community, will have the voter's choice. Also brought back by popular demand is our mischievous Sonora Chamber elves that will be visiting the Sonora stores for photographs for our social media campaign. Also, we have hired a professional holiday lighting company to light up Courthouse Park and the Red Church. And they are actually going to be coming on this coming Saturday to set the lights. And they will go live on the Friday for the Christmas parade. That was around $9,100 to do that. So that kind of ate into our $10,000 Sonora Area Foundation grant. We're also planning a Santa's Village and Christmas Tree Lane at Courthouse Park. We are going to we're going to have a Letters to Santa mailbox there where kids can come up and mail their letters to the North Pole. We're going to have Santa read those letters on our local community radio station, CAD Radio. We also have about 30 nonprofits that have signed up for for an artificial tree. We've partnered with Lowe's. Lowe's is donating 10 of the trees, and then giving us the other 21 at their cost. So we are providing those trees to the nonprofits at no charge. And so we have like 30 of them already signed up, which is great. Let's see, the North Pole at Lineaburg. So we have hired professional Mrs. Claus. Her name actually is Jessica Kringle. And she is going to be at Lineaburg on the 11th and the 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. doing sing-alongs, story times, crafting with the little kids, right after lunch and before dinner, so it's that perfect window. And then also we partnered with Tuolumne County Arts and the Makers Lab, and they're going to be doing crafting and have a cappella singers. If you're familiar with Mirth and Glee, they're going to be performing on the 11th, and then also meander through the downtown, maybe popping into some of the businesses. Actually, the flyer that you have in front of you is what I'm going to be handing out to the businesses, so they know what's going on and then how they can make it successful in that red box down below. And then lastly on Lineaburg is TC Arts is planning an interactive projection. It's a video projection of a winter-themed video inspired by Vincent van Gogh. I think you're going to be able to walk into the image, so it's very interactive and really kind of cool. So that's pretty much what we have planned for year one, unless you guys have any questions. All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we're all kind of quiet tonight. Okay, is there any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar considered routine and will be voted on in one motion unless a council member or members of the public has a question or wishes to discuss an item. In that case, the item will be removed from the consent calendar, considered separately. Any questions on the consent calendar? Okay, any public comment on the consent calendar? Okay, bring it back to the council. Looking for a motion and a second.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Garaventa, second by Councilmember Segestrom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Abstentions? Passes 4-0. Okay, on to unfinished business. Consideration to ratify 2 members of the public to the Vision Sonora Committee. I made my presentation last time on who I believe should be on there. I think they're 2 very fine people. I actually received several calls in support. One a very strong supporter of one of the members, or hopefully one of the members. So that would be Charles Segestrom and Lori Lehman. So is there any discussion?
I just would like to thank you for appointing them, and I'm really pleased to have both Lori and Charles appointed to Vision Sonora, and I'm really looking forward to resurrecting that committee and getting some work done. So
Pedal to the metal.
thanks, everyone.
I second that endorsement, and I think that the committee will be revived and re-energized, and here we come, 2022.
Heck yeah. Anything from you, Jim?
No, just looking forward to see what comes out.
Cool. Okay, I will look for any public comment on this. Cool. Okay, so I'll bring it back to the council for a motion and a second or any other discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept Lori Lehman and Charles Segestrom for the Vision Sonora Committee.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Sudge, second by Councilmember Segestrom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Abstentions? Passes 4-0. Okay, on to item number 7, consideration to accept the 2021 Rural Fire Capacity Grant application in the amount of $39,884.00 and approve Resolution 11-1-2021A authorizing the city administrator to sign and execute the agreement.
Well, good
Chief
evening,
New.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and public that have joined us this evening. For discussion, back in May is when I came before you to get permission to put in for what used to be the Volunteer Firefighters Assistance Grant. It has now been renamed to the Rural Fire Capacity Grant. At that time, what we were putting in for was wildland and structural personal protective equipment, radio equipment, and different wildland firefighting equipment. For instance, like a hose clamp, hose packs. Our hose packs are getting pretty worn out that the guys are using right now. So we were lucky enough to be awarded the grant for the full amount. So I'm here before you to let you know that we were successful in our grant writing and have you approve Resolution 11-01-2021A and authorize the city administrator to sign and execute the agreement. And then once we get approval, we'll be able to purchase the new equipment. Also, this is a 50-50 match, and that was one of the reasons I came before you back in May for the approval. The funding will be coming from the fire department Measure I fund to fund that portion of the money. I'm sorry, not Measure I. Okay, sorry. I've got 2 different grants on my head. It'll be from used to be our 399 or 730 account, which is our reimbursements back from the state for going out on deployments. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Council have any questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I second that. Okay, is there any public comment on this matter? Okay, so we will bring it back to the council for a motion and a second.
Move to accept the 2021 Rural Fire Capacity Grant application in the amount of $39,884 and approve Resolution 11-01-2021-A, authorizing the city administrator to sign and execute the agreement.
A second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Garaventa, second by Councilmember Segestrom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, excuse me.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 4-0. Okay, on unfinished business, item number 8. Consideration to waive second reading and adopt ordinance number 881, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sonora amending Chapter 8.30.030, Emergency Services Director, Assistant, and Coordinator, Office Created, Section 830.40, Line of Succession, then Section 8.30.060, Authority, Control, and Management of Resources during State of Local Emergency, and Section 8.30.080, Responsibility for Emergency Services Program within the city. Mary Rose.
This item actually is coming again from your city attorney as it was introduced last meeting. Doug, did you want to introduce it or would you like me to follow up with the item?
No, it's fine. So this is just second reading. So this would be the approval stage, and this would just designate the city administrator as the director of emergency services. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
And I'll just add that city employees have begun to coordinate emergency training with the county. This last Friday, we participated in a joint OES overview and EOC overview with the county, which was really great because we got an opportunity to see the delineation of how an EOC should function in coordination with your emergency services director and those staff that support the efforts within an emergency operations center and looking and overseeing an emergency Office of Emergency Services. So we've begun to start those trainings. I know Dory Beats, the County Office of Emergency Services Coordinator, would like to have ongoing joint trainings to get both county and city staff up to speed on those additional, almost mandated trainings so that we are all required disaster service workers so that we understand those different elements within an emergency. So I would just like to say, out of the tragedy of the Washington fire, we've really come together to try to start coordinating as much as we can between the offices, both here within the administration of the city and in the county, to ensure that we are on the same page when it comes to emergency services.
Cool. Any council member? Yes, Councilmember Segestrom. Loud.
Yeah, was that me?
No, it's
Reverberating. Does this include the updating of the 2014 emergency program that the city has?
It does, and it also we've discussed having some sort of coordinated effort to present to the elected officials, how elected officials, what the response and responsibility of an elected official during an emergency disaster, as well as updating the 2014 emergency operations plan, which in coordination with both your fire chief and police chief, we've definitely looked at it and seen that we definitely need to update it. The state has gone a different route as it looks at operations of an emergency operations center. So we want to make sure that we're in line with how the state is and also how incident command functions and making sure that our emergency operations center is coordinating with the incident command center.
Yeah, it just seemed that plan seemed very broad. And, although I suppose that you do need to have kind of an umbrella plan so that you can sharpen where you need to sharpen underneath it. And I'm very cheered that the county is considering a similar move, so.
Any other questions? Okay, any public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council, I guess, for a motion and or a second.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and, see no discussion, I'll go ahead and move to waive the second reading and adopt ordinance number 8.1. Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sonora amending chapters 8.30.030 and section 8.30.40, oh, I think it's supposed to be 040, section 8.30.060 and 8.30.080.
I'll second that.
Did I do that right?
I think so.
Yes.
I hope so.
Let's see.
You can always cheat in the future and just say as stated in the agenda if you want.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I
don't have
know,
to
but
read. I was gonna say, you don't have to read it.
We'll say,
I hate it when everyone goes, vote on staff recommendation, you know, or motion.
let's go say,
People will-
Councilmember Such had the easy one. She just seconded.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, exactly.
Had a motion by Councilmember Garaventa, second by Councilmember Such. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 4-0. On to new business. Item number 9, consideration to adopt resolution 11-1-2021B proclaiming and authorizing remote teleconferencing meetings of the City Council in its committees and commissions for 30 days pursuant to AB 361 Brown Act provisions. Mary Rose.
Council members, the item before you is an item as per the direction that the City Council gave at the last meeting on October 18th, which was to bring forth a resolution making findings pursuant to AB 361. AB 361, as we talked about at the last meeting, is a resolution that allows for remote teleconferencing of meetings of your City Council and its committees and commissions for 30 days. And as you'll notice in the resolution, it discloses the findings that the council must make in order to allow for those remote teleconferencing meetings. And I'll just kind of read what those findings are for the records. The local agency is holding a meeting during a proclaimed state of emergency, and the state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing. And the local agency is holding a meeting during a proclaimed state of emergency for the purpose of determining by a majority vote whether a result of the emergency meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees. And the local agency is holding a meeting during a proclaimed state of emergency and has determined by a majority vote that a result of the emergency meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health and safety of attendees. So if you look at the resolution, there was one stipulation I want to draw the council members' attention to based on the direction that was given by the council last meeting. And that was that the council determined that city council meetings would continue in person. However, they wanted the ability for committees and commissions to be able to meet remotely via teleconferencing. So on that second page of item number 9, I just want to kind of draw your attention to those 3 whereases that talk specifically about that. Actually, it's the last 2 whereases. And it's whereas the city council meetings will be conducted in person, however, city committee and commission meetings may participate by teleconferencing, and members of the public may also participate virtually in committee and commission meetings. And yet that second whereas there on that second page is whereas on occasion a council member may need to appear and participate in a city council meeting remotely. In order to comply with public health guidance, the city council desires to allow such participation in using the requirements of AB 361. So the council, by making these findings, will allow for meetings, city council meetings, committee and commission meetings to meet remotely. However, as per those last 2 whereases, it gives the preference of those committees and commissions and allows on occasion when a council member may need to appear and participate via teleconferencing when you have such as Mayor Pro Tem Plummer, who continues to be out on Calder fires and whatnot. So I wanted to make sure I drew your attention to those 2 whereases as it is specific to the city of Sonora. Again, this resolution is good for 30 days and we will need to make these findings every 30 days to allow for remote meetings to continue.
Any Councilmember Segerstrom.
Could you define telemarketing? I mean, telemarketing.
Oh, I can define
I don't want to define that one.
Sorry, telecommunications.
Sure.
I can define telemarketing.
I think everyone
But yeah.
So teleconferencing, so if you recall from the Brown Act, and I detailed in this in the actual agenda report for you. So AB 361 suspends requirements of teleconferencing previously within the Brown Act. So previously, agendas needed to be posted at the teleconference locations. So teleconferencers for those that phone in or remote in via Zoom or other type of media outlet, so that they're not here in person, but they're able to communicate their vote and to participate in a meeting when they're not in person. They're teleconferencing in. But that's a good point, Councilmember Sagerstrom. Let me just kind of reiterate what AB 361 suspended for those that are unaware and for the public. So previously, without AB 361, agendas needed to be posted at a teleconference location. All agendas needed to identify that teleconference location. Agencies were required to make teleconference locations accessible to the public. Council members needed to participate from within the territorial boundaries. So your territorial boundaries in the city of Sonora. So even if you're teleconferencing, you would still have to remain within the city of Sonora. And then each agenda must include notice to the public as to how members may access the meeting and offer public comment at that teleconference location. And they should have identified and include an opportunity for all persons to attend via call-in or internet-based service option. So AB 361 suspended those requirements and allows us to continue how we have been functioning from the governor's executive order that suspended on September 30th with some caveats. But again, these findings of the emergency declaration that it poses imminent risk, those have to be made by the council in order for us to continue teleconferencing, and those findings need to be made every 30 days. So you will see a resolution like this coming before the council every 30 days.
Councilmember Such.
Is there any, are we even talking about allowing a hybrid so that they're in, like tonight, we're in person, there's public here in person, but the public is not allowed to Zoom? Is there a possibility that we could add that back?
I didn't get direction from that on the 18th. As your city administrator, I would again recommend not a hybrid because of the task it puts on staff to be able to coordinate a hybrid type of meeting. But if you do want any type of resolution, Doug, and I'm looking towards you, that would have to be brought back in the resolution language to be voted on a subsequent date.
Could we vote on this? Could we approve this tonight and then add
I mean,
language to it, or?
you can change it tonight from the dais if that's your so desire, but it wasn't presented that way because I don't think we had majority support for that proposition at the last meeting.
That is correct.
So we as a council can make an emergency declaration, can support the emergency declaration that there's imminent risk for commissions and committees, but not for council?
Correct.
That seems like that if there's risk for the public with committees and commissions, there's risk for the public at city council meetings as well.
Well, remember, this is to give the committees flexibility. One of the issues may be that, depending on certain commissions may have more vulnerable populations or have people who are participating in them who might have other issues. And so this gives them the freedom to do it that way if they so choose. It doesn't require them to do it a particular way. And so this is just what we would put on record to allow the commissions to make that determination themselves. So
seems to me the risk is the same. The public, certainly for the public, and also, I mean, I don't want the council to meet remotely. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I wish the public could participate remotely in council meetings. I think that's more transparency, and the public actually should be able to participate. And there are many people in the public who will not participate in person, because of a risk to themselves or a family member. So.
Anyone else? Okay, so we'll ask for any public comment on this matter. Okay. So we'll bring it back to the council.
May I ask a question? I didn't understand completely, or maybe I didn't understand at all. So we can approve this resolution, but then bring it back for an amendment that would allow people to allow the public to participate remotely in city council meetings? Is that what Doug said? Or you
No,
said?
so you can do either. You could amend what's being proposed tonight to allow a hybrid meeting if you want for the city council. It wasn't presented that way because there was not majority support for it at the last meeting. So that's why you have the way that it was presented as it stands right now. It does, again, it also doesn't require any commission to meet in a hybrid or other fashion. It just gives them the ability to, which is why you can make those findings. Each commission will have to determine themselves how they want to hold their meetings on a going forward basis. But they can't do it without the adoption of this resolution by the council.
Yes, another question.
Oh, absolutely.
So committees and commissions could vote to meet totally remotely, and the council could vote and only the council could vote to meet in a hybrid fashion, correct? Doesn't have to be the same.
As long as you make these findings, it's within the council's purview to decide how they want to meet. You'd have to make some changes to it. This is its current.
Yeah, you would have to amend the resolution to allow for any type of hybrid within the council, but approving the resolution as it is now allows for committees and commissions to meet if they so choose, strictly teleconferencing or whatever.
Yeah, my understanding, and I remember a little bit of the discussion last time, is that we were going to take a look at this just because we had a couple committees that wanted to meet through teleconferencing. The Social Equity Committee I knew was one of them. So, and no, I'm not taking any political stance on the Social Equity Committee. Let me just make that clear. That was one of the things.
It didn't appear that you were.
I know, but some of the public were, oh my gosh. So, but I just want to make sure that was, or at least make sure that was my understanding that that's one of the directions we were going was because of that. I mean, if we're talking about going back to a hybrid model, I mean, I don't support that, but I will support the ability, for the Social Equity Committee or others to do teleconferencing. So any other council, I mean, I can already ask for public comments. I could call for a motion, or if there's any other discussion.
I just have one more question.
Sure.
And we have to renew this every month. So for instance, when it comes back to us at the first meeting in December, we can change things if we think that it should be changed. Okay.
You can change it at any time.
Okay. I'll make a motion to are we ready to make a motion? I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 1101-2021B proclaiming and authorizing remote teleconferencing meetings of the City Council and its committees and commissions for 30 days pursuant to AB 361 Brown Act provisions.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Such, second by Councilmember Garaventa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 4-0. On to item number 10. Consideration to agendize for discussion and possible action at a future date. Consideration to create a City of Sonora Energy Action Committee.
The item before you, council members, we received a public comment in regards to this item, and as pursuant to our rules of our meetings, we allow for public comment to receive in writing within a specific time frame. So we're just passing out that public comment that received within that time frame. So the item before you is actually coming from a request made by Councilmember Ann Sagerstrom. In your agenda report, I provide a brief history of your Energy Action Committee. So the Energy Action Committee was established back in 2018, but this committee was actually in coordination with, from back in 2017, when the City Council authorized the Sierra Business Council to prepare an energy action plan on behalf of the city of Sonora. In 2018, the City Council accepted that energy action plan, again, prepared by the Sierra Business Council and supported by PG&E. At the time, it was presented as a roadmap for the city to reduce its energy consumption. And I provided the minute meetings because this was about 3 years ago, just so that the council had the ability to see the discussion at the time. At the time, it was stated that the city did not have the financial resources to maintain or to go forth with the requirements of the energy action plan. And so the city's role amounted to, and you'll see it in the minutes, a moral support. Councilmember Sagerstrom has asked that this item come before you as the Sierra Business Council is now pulling, for lack of a better word, pulling its support to allow the committee to meet, to continue to meet. And she is asking the city council to create a city-sanctioned energy action committee and to continue on with the requirements of the energy action plan. Again, I just want to reiterate that some of the requirements within the energy action plan do require capital improvement projects, require financial assistance through your budgetary action. And as a committee, it would require staff support, so it would also require staff time to attend these meetings. Currently, we do have your Administrative Services Director attending the Sierra Business Council Energy Action Committee. And Councilmember Sagerstrom, if you would like to add upon that as well.
Thank you. We have the Sierra Business Council was the kind of the overseer of this of the energy committee, which was in fact supported by PG&E, and PG&E decided to go in other directions. The Sierra Business Council then said, you know, without PG&E funding, we no longer support the Energy Action Committee. And those of us on the committee that think that but the future is now, and that we need to take action both in conserving, you know, energy resiliency, and also looking beyond that to climate action. Wanted to, you know, find a format or a foundation from which we could operate, and it was suggested that the city would be a good, you know, I mean, this would be, the city could lead, you know, in this arena. And we have, you know, the reboot, we've rebooted independently. We've been meeting, looking at some of the items that had been done before. And, you know, I know there's an energy action plan. I know there's concrete stuff in there. But those of us on the committee realize that we have to look for funding, that it's not all to be, you know, a city, all to lay at the feet of the city of Sonora. But we're interested in the future. I mean, the future is now. We need to look at all of the emergencies that are coming at us to see how individually and collectively that we can work to save energy, to help the environment, to look at water resources. So we kind of, at our last meeting, expanded our mandate to go beyond energy and look at climate. And so Charles's email addresses that we would like to take our projections further, but we also, you know, don't plan on being a city burden. We'd actually like to be a city asset. So, and we have up to 10 members who are willing to work with us. Also a grant writer who is, you know, very active right now with the Tuolumne County Resources Committee. a resource, I wrote it down somewhere, sorry, TCRCD, whatever. Yeah, so the rural resources. And David is a member, and I think that we can be a potent and powerful committee moving forward to bring the city into the 21st century with all of the actions that need to be taken for our next generations in terms of energy savings, fire prevention, and any other water resources, things that we can do that affect the environment.
So again, this is just to agendize at a future date for discussion, so I don't want us to get into the weeds of it. But I wanted to make sure that the council had a thorough understanding of the request and so forth.
So I'm more than willing, personally, more than willing to talk about this. You know, I have differing opinions on climate change and that sort of thing, and I actually love discussing these sort of things. But you know, I would actually like to talk about it more at a future date, but I actually would like to have Charles Segestrom come up and talk about it a little bit too. Him and I, after the last council meeting, yeah, it was the last one we had a pretty good discussion about things. So I would love to talk to him a little more. And
Well, he's definitely the driving force.
Yes.
I mean, at least the brains behind the operation. I get to do the microphone at the front, but you know, I mean, he has a history of you know, a PG&E background, and he's very smart about all of these different programs that we can tap into, as well as perhaps get a Civic Spark intern that would help us work
So
with.
again,
Again,
council members, like,
Oh, sorry.
we're getting
Yeah.
into discussion of
Okay,
it.
right, all right.
So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see this come back before us. So then we could talk a lot more about it. So I guess
I had a couple questions though. You said you guys are meeting still even after SBC has pulled out their,
Well, we
Funding,
needed
or-
a plan. We wanted
so,
all
so,
to.
so you're saying, yeah, you have,
Yeah, when we
okay.
wanted to move forward, that, you know, there were, well, there's issues that need to be addressed in terms of energy and climate change. And so we were looking for an agency that would sponsor us or
Mm.
allow us to be part of the structure.
ATCA's not willing?
Pardon?
ATCA's not willing? Or have
He's-
they been approached?
Craig Case is a member of the committee, but they're more specialized with their
Weather.
kind of, yeah, they already have it's energy programs, but they are targeted at a certain
Okay.
population and not the population in general.
Well, I don't, you know, like Matt said, I don't mind discussing it. You know, it was agendized as the Energy Action Committee and all, and it seems like it's already becoming the Climate Action Committee. So, I just don't know how that's going to be agendized for the next meeting.
You want me to? You
Yeah.
can amend the motion to a climate action?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I would prefer to go forward that way.
With climate action,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know, I was just sort of butting in. Isn't this on one of our goals? Didn't we do some, I feel like I should know the answer to this question, but didn't we list climate action as one of our goals?
We did. Did you need me to pull that up for you, exactly what that?
It just would be helpful to, is that easy to pull up?
Let me see
I
if
would find it difficult. But
I'm trying to see if it's on, should be on the webpage. Trying to see if I can see it on the webpage.
I'm sorry, I forgot to look at that before the meeting.
And that can all be as far as the agendizing for the next meeting.
Yeah, that would be great.
But I believe we have it as part of our goals. Where is Just the council.
I mean, I think it's fine just to include that in the packet for the next meeting.
Should be there. Sorry, I can't pull it up at this point.
Okay.
But I can, if, I can include it in the agendize, if that's what the council so wishes.
No, I mean, it's fine by me. I think regardless, we should have a little more discussion about it.
I would love to.
All right, I mean, should I make a motion to agendize?
Yes?
Well, I think as long as we have,
I move to agendize.
Wait,
What?
we didn't have public.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah,
My brain is everywhere today. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. So is there any public comment on this matter?
Hi. David Goldemer, Tolman County Supervisor, District 1. So, yes, I've been involved with this group. I'm supportive of these types of efforts. The county currently is working on the final stages of our climate action plan. It's being handled by an outside contracted vendor. They've been taking a lot of public comment, and that's probably going to, come into play shortly after the first of the year. Was the last discussion that I had with staff. But certainly, there's a lot of potential, a lot of things that the county could do working with the city. And we're not just talking county government here, too. There may be some very real possibilities to work with our local businesses. And so we want to, look at, moving down this road, the county does. And I've had some recent discussions with staff at the county level to see what we can do to integrate working with the city as closely as possible. May not always, shake out, the way we ultimately want it to, but, I think we should at least try to see what we can do collaboratively. So, and they blend. Energy savings, climate, they really go hand in hand. So just wanted to speak to that a little bit, from the county perspective. We'd like to, go down further on this road. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with working with the county on issues like that. I mean, if we're going, I hate to see us go down and do a separate committee that tries to reinvent and go through the whole process when the county's just finishing up on theirs. And they could be pretty much what we'd be looking at in the long run, and we'd save all that time and effort and resources. So David, when is that supposed to come through? At the end of this year?
I didn't get a firm date. In speaking with Quincy Yeley this last week, she was thinking just after the first of the year is when we would be looking to release.
So it's relatively soon.
Yeah, sometime in January is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'd like to see, well, that's up for discussion, I guess, at the next meeting, but yeah, I think coordination with see what the county has come up with, and if we don't have to go through a whole process, 2-year process of a special committee, we could borrow from the county and tweak it to the city's needs and go from there.
Yeah.
So, but that, again, that's a discussion for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go so far as to say that, that you could just jump on with the county effort.
No,
it
would be a separate effort.
City issues, to the extent that you would like to.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
Thank
we
you.
certainly considered synergy with the county and, would invite the county to any of our meetings.
As a David on the
Yes.
Supervisor Goldenberg on it.
Any other public comment? Okay. So I guess I'll bring it back to the council, and it sounds like we already have a motion ready.
I'll second it.
I don't think she read
Oh,
it.
she didn't do it? Sorry.
I
I'll
move
still
to
second
to agendize for discussion and possible action at a future date consideration to create a City of Sonora climate action.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Segestrom, second by Councilmember Such. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, passes 4-0 to agendize it, and it's gonna come back. Okay, so that is all for that part of this council meeting. Next is council member and department head reports. Chief Vanderweel.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, Honorable Council. So October was October Pink, where we coordinated an effort to support and raise awareness for breast cancer. And now it is November, so Officer Bell from our department is coordinating a department effort to raise awareness for cancer called No Shave November. I think you've all heard about it.
How far are you?
He's been
There
preparing.
he is.
So I too
Few
am
days.
participating, as you can see. I can't promise how long it'll last. It's 2 days, and it's already not. I'm not a fan, but anyway, I've done it before. It's a good cause. So if you see police officers from your agency with fuzzy faces, it means that they supported, they donated to support local efforts of research for cancer research and awareness and treatment. So we're also, I believe, Officer Bell's setting it up where we can take donations from the public and we'll put it in one big pot and donate it locally for, I believe, research and care.
Thank you. Oh.
Yes.
I am so bad at this microphone. November 13th is the dog, the police puppy fundraiser thing. Sorry.
Yes.
The
that
police
sounds
dog.
Right. Faith
Yes, right.
Hamilton's senior
Sorry,
project. It was, I think it's about 2 years in the making so far. She's decided to continue it here in a couple weeks, and it's down at the fairgrounds. And so far, she's gotten a lot of support, and I think she's still taking donations for items to be auctioned off. She has it. She has her website out there to contact her and be able to donate. We don't take those through the PD; it's a separate element. But it'll be a nice function. She's trying to raise enough money for for a canine vehicle this time, which is somewhere around $90,000 with all the equipment, special equipment in there to keep the dog safe, and be able to release it remotely and all that. So hopefully it works out. It's a good turnout. Faith is, I think you've met Faith here before a couple times. She's quite a kid, so hopefully it turns out. Thanks for bringing on Miami.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get your question after the meeting because I can't let it. I can't. Okay.
These are reports.
Yeah, these are just the reports. Chief New.
Just a reminder, if those that do not know, apparently the Washington DC Christmas tree will be coming through town, and it'll be escorted with a joint effort between county and city and different agencies, and the fire department will be participating with Santa. He's coming early this year, so Santa Claus will be in the fire truck. We'll be escorting the tree on Wednesday, the 3rd, in 2 days, at 4 o'clock from off of Highway 108 to its resting. It has to rest overnight before it can make the rest of the journey, so it's going to be parking down at the fairgrounds overnight and then continuing on. So, we want to invite the community to come out to see the Washington DC Christmas tree, and it'll be escorted through town.
Thank you. Cool. Community Development Director.
So your staff has been busy working on Christmas as well. We have worked on with Katie with a few things as well. Our Christmas parade is underway. Everything is done, and we have our Caltrans permit, which you guys know because the media certainly let the world know that we're having a parade. So we have our applications are done. We've had all the staff meetings that we need to have until right before the event, and applications are coming in. All event participants will be required to wear a mask. to participate in the parade. Hopefully we have a nice turnout. We do have our Santa on board for this year. We have a new Santa this year. Our Santa wasn't able to do it this year, so, but he is going to be in the Christmas parade, so, and that'll be nice. We also have our banners ordered, and we anticipate that they're going to be here the week of the parade, so Public Works is going to do their best to swap out the banners and get our new Christmas banners up. We'll have to wait on the wreaths until after the holidays, so hopefully it will happen next year. I think you guys already heard, but the generator here at City Hall got tested today and set up, and it's fully functioning. So we have an operating generator now at City Hall. We have one also at at the Police Department and Public Works. They'll be wrapping theirs up in the next couple weeks, and they'll have a portable connection. So then they'll be all set. Fire Department's generator just needed to be repaired, so we took care of that, and so all that is completed at project done. So I just wanted to let you know that we'll also be bringing the project list back for consideration for the Parks and Rec grant. I talked to the state on Friday. They approved our project location. In fact, they were very excited about our project location. It meets the criteria perfectly and the project list that we have proposed. So that'll be coming to your next meeting.
Thank you. Finance Director. Okay. City Administrator.
Nothing new to report.
All right. City Attorney.
Nothing more tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Sagestrom.
I don't have much to add, other than yesterday was Halloween, and I still have candy if anybody needs some. But Christmas is coming, and the National Christmas Tree, of course, we will down at the fairgrounds, and the Sonora Chamber has bought bells and there'll be some stations along Washington Street for people to pick up bells to ring while the tree goes by. And I'll have some down at the fairgrounds, but it should be very gala, and there will be cider, cocoa, and speakers at the fairgrounds, so the tree has a lot to look forward to. And then the Tuolumne Chamber, Visit Tuolumne, has invited, I don't know if you all got invitations to go to talk to the Outdoor Writers Association on November 16th. There's a dinner and presentations at Hearst Ranch. So I am planning on doing that.
Councilmember Garavena.
Okay. So since the last meeting, we had the Tuolumne County Transportation Council and Transportation Agency Strategic Workshop, which is kind of like a more intense discussion among the members about where we're headed in the future, kind of like a 5-year plan type of thing. Had some really good discussions. It was led by a facilitator, Genevieve Evans, who is actually out of Tahoe City, but she's worked with the with TCTC in the past and did a really good job, I felt. Had a long meeting with Supervisor Goldenberg, discussed city and county issues. Attended the Visitors Bureau marketing meeting on Zoom. A lot of things happening there, and I don't know if went to the dedication of the new TUD sewer facility. Was that before? Did we already report on that?
Last meeting.
Okay, so I think we already mentioned that. So that was before last meeting. So that's all I have.
Councilmember Sutch.
I also went to the Tuolumne County Transportation Council and Agency Strategic Workshop, and there are just a lot of good ideas there. I can't remember any of them, although right now, but a lot of good stuff will be coming from that workshop. I also attended the IRWIM meeting, and just lots of good work happening with that committee. Let's see what else, where am I? Social equity was canceled for lack of a quorum last Monday, and I was part of that. Because I was exposed to COVID, I couldn't go. And also attended the Jamestown Widening Project, a virtual meeting about the Jamestown Widening Project. I missed the beginning of it because I don't think Jim and I received links to that, but I finally got on and just talk about Caltrans involvement. And they seemed, I thought, less than enthusiastic about it, some of it. So, and that's it for me.
Okay, and I was going to talk about the Christmas tree, but it's been brought up a couple times. I will say a big thank you to Councilmember Sagestrom. I know she's been doing a lot, or at least some with that. It seems to everything else with it. Yes. And then, of course, Supervisor Half. I know she's done a lot of work. And then I think another reason the tree is coming through this area is because of the RCRC, which is the Rural California. Yes. So, a big thank you to everyone that is involved. And I look forward to being there Wednesday. And I guess they feel confident enough to let me speak for 30 seconds. So very excited about that. So that's all I have, and we will call the meeting over at 6:10 p.m.